Hello, good morning. This morning, an activation at Stone Point. 20 metres. Around here is the Maze Tower. Good for VHF activation, isn't it? Plenty of height here. It's pretty windy, it's sunny, and it's moderately warm. We need to walk down there. More when we get to Stone Point. Okay, we're about halfway there now. Just going through all these fields, and I thought this building here people might find interesting. It's an older gunning emplacement from the Second World War, and it's one of the few Second World War buildings that hasn't slipped into the sea down here due to all the coastal erosion. It's actually an artillery pillbox, and it was built in 1940. And the reason I know that is because the board here tells me it. But it's starting to decay quite badly, but it's still there. Someone's popped a weather station on the end of it. Not sure who that belongs to. And we still got a long way to go. Right down there, Stone Point. So it's a little sandbar that sticks out into the estuary of the river. So that's the River Stour and the backwaters, Hanford Waters. So we'll carry down the path and give you an update when we get down on the coastal path again. So we finally bashed our way through all this heather and bramble and everything. Last video was close to where you see a series of houses up there on the out there. Took a bad path actually, which was overgrown with brambles, and I'm now paying the price. Fortunately, I had to turn around and reciprocate the route, and that was fortunate because I dropped my phone without realising it, and I found it in the mud as I was walking back up the hill. So the vital piece of ham equipment is still with me, i.e. the microwave equipment, the mobile phone. But we're down on the coastal path now. It's pretty quiet down here. A couple of dog walkers who've braved it. But you can see we're pretty much at low tide now. I'm going to follow this path all the way along to Stone Point and get set up in the next video. About halfway there now. This is the beach on the approach to Stone Point. That's looking back up towards the Walton direction. So to Felixstowe in the distance on the other side of the estuary there. There's a stub line heading out. Plenty of sand, plenty of space for antennas. Also, plenty of wind, as you can probably hear. This is how you equip yourself to walk into the sea. But yes, fresh enough for sure. Keep on walking and film once we get to base camp. So we're nearly at Stone Point, and this little river here, hardly the Amazon I know, is what separates it from the mainland. But bearing in mind that's low tide at the moment, and once we cross that, we're actually on the island of Stone Point. So I'll do this with the camera in my hand. And now on Stone Point. Welcome to the island. Just to talk a few things through here. The sandbar you can see out there, I believe, is what's called Pye Sands. I say I believe because I can't remember if that's what it's called. As a teenager, we used to come down here and do a lot of sailing. And occasionally we'd manage to run and then spend a few hours on the boat waiting for the tide to come down. Over there in the distance, I'll just zoom it in, is what they call a cardinal marker buoy. It's a buoy with two black triangles on it, which is a turning point. So if you go straight down here, that takes you onto the Walton backwaters. straight ahead takes you to Hamford Water, and then over there is the Shotley Peninsula, and you have the River Stour and the River Orwell, of course Felixstowe Docks, and there's that cruise liner. So of course I can actually just about see Rough Towers, which is an old planning emplacement, now called the Republic of Sealand. That's another story in its own right. Okay, onwards and upwards to the end of Stone Point now. We're here now at the final destination. So this is Pye Sands. I think it's called Pye Fleet Sands, but I'll have to check that. You see Port of Felixstowe in the distance over there, obviously with all the cranes. This river up here is the estuary into the Orwell and the Stour over there. If you come round here, you can see just over there is a buoy with two black triangles, what they call a cardinal marker buoy, and that splits the river. It goes up to Hamford Water up there, or down here to, I think it's called the Twizzle, the Walton Backwaters anyway. But I am actually on the sandbar here, technically out at sea, so I'm not going to hang around long. You can see the old barges they've beached up on the on Stone Point there, just to try and stop and slow down the erosion a little bit. But there's not a soul around. In the distance you can see Walton Marina. That would be Walton Marina, I think, over there. And over there you can see the Naze. You might like to see the tower up in the distance. Now, if I had a bit more time, I would actually set a mast up here, but it's very windy and I don't really want to get cut off by the tide, so I'm going to head back onto the beach and find a sheltered spot and try and make a radio contact there. When I was a child, we used to sail down here regularly with my dad on a boat. On one occasion, he believes he saw a flamingo on Stone Point, which he then spent the rest of his life having the mickey taken out of him. But maybe he did. Not impossible, I suppose, but there's certainly no flamingo here today. So I've checked. If you're listening, Dad, he's no longer with us. No flamingo at Stone Point. Unless you mean one of those white ones, the big yellow beak. Right, now off to find a space to try some radio. The wind's dropping, beautiful day. So Stone Point is but a distant feature in the background now, and the sandbar is completely covered, hence why I didn't set up on the sandbar on this occasion. That's one for next time. This breakwater here, this is the plan. Strap a 6 metre Sota Beams fiberglass pole onto that, well actually it's carbon fibre, and make a little table up behind and see who we can hear on 20 metres. I'll try and do a time lapse to see if that works. We're all set up rather usefully. I've been able to elevate one of the radials, two of the radials, and the other one just pegged down to the ground. That's the Sota Beam mast. And, I haven't guided it. It's windy, so we'll see what happens. Just going to plug in the old Ukrainian Rigmaster and check what the VSWR is like. Scanning it now. 1.64 20 metres, well actually 13.97, so it's a little bit low, but I'll accept that. I've got an ATU, so that'll tune, and see how we get on, try and make some contacts now. Just a quick piece on the rig here. So this is a little G106 Xiegu Chinese transceiver. It's a QRP, so it's 5 watts, except I have put this MX-P50M HF power amplifier, reputedly you might assume 50 watts, but I've done another video on it, and it actually runs at about 40 watts on average, but there's another video if you're interested. And this is a ATU I built. You see the screen sort of synced up with the phone, but that says power at the top, VSWR, and then inductance and capacitance. And underneath I've used, it's got its built-in battery supply. Basically it's a couple of remote control car stroke helicopter battery strung together, so it gives me 14.8 volts. So even on the QRP side alone, it produces just over 10 watts, so that's quite useful. Try and make some contacts now and see how we get on.
You are using the loop antenna.
Yeah, good morning. I'm pleased you can hear me. The bands are so dead this morning. I've come on a long walk, and I'm right down on the beach. I'm right down on the beach in Essex in the UK, and I'm actually just using a vertical, a homemade vertical, into a little G106 HF transceiver, a little G106 HF transceiver. So I was really pleased that you could pick me up when the bands are so dead. You're the only person on here that I can hear, but 5.9 plus 20, 5.9 plus 20. So thanks very much for the signal report. Back to you.
Yeah, looking for listen and the emission. Can you tell Richard?
Yeah, the conditions here, the weather is dry and sunny, but the radio conditions are very, very poor. I wonder if there's been a solar flare or something's totally knocked out all the HF conditions by the looks of things. Back to you.
Okay, Richard. Yeah, my friend. Yeah, you starting my 5.9. You now it's a 5.3. Okay, for you see what's the propagation tell for us. Okay, it's no problem at all. The audio is 100%. This is more important. But for give a good report, it's practically impossible because in 1 second you are 5.9, 5.9 plus, in the next second you are 5.2 or 5.0, okay? Anyway, Richard, thank you very much, my friend, for the contact, for Apple my call. I using a lot of power, okay, 1 kW, okay, the power in the 2-element YAG, 20 meters above the ground, and that's it. It's the power for using power for better propagation, okay? Anyway, 7.3 Richard, I hope to see you soon, my friend. Thank you very much for the contact, and best regards from Portugal. Golf 7 and Golf Yankee Mike, Charlie Tango 7, America, Germany, Ecuador. 7.3, my friend, all the best.
Yeah, 7.3s, loads of QSB still, so you faded right at the end there. 7.3s and see you down the log. Thanks for the contact.
Okay, 7.3, my friend, all the best. Okay, this frequency is clear for my part, I need to go. 57 Alpha, go for Echo, here T, 7.3 guys, this frequency is clear.
The beach just by Walton on the Naze in Essex, so right down by the sea. And the tide's just coming in as we can speak. QSL? Yeah, good morning, Len. It's nice to speak to you, even over in Housestead there. You're obviously...
the call sign is Hotel Sugar Mike 0, Hotel X-Ray Mike, Sierra Mike 0, Hotel X-Ray Mike, QSL.
Yeah, QSL, I've got that. I've recorded it on my phone. So yeah, that's successful in the end, really. The conditions are really bad. Everything's marked up as poor. There's really, really high noise. I think maybe there's been a big solar flare or something. The conditions of the weekend were fantastic and everything's completely dead now. That said, I've spoken to a guy in Poland, another guy in, where was the other one? Housestead in Essex, so not so far away, and an Italian guy who was running a kilowatt against my 20 watts. So they managed to pick me out of a very, very dead band, but I'm sure they were doing all the heavy lifting at that end. It's a beautiful day here still, but the rain's coming, so I'm going to call an end to this video and walk back to the vehicle, and I won't bore you with the trip unless something very exciting happens. Cheers for now.